Hello. Hi. How are ya? I'm doing well, thank you. I'm Amanda of the Manda Made It podcast. I am, as per usual, recording this during my now 1-year-old daughter's nap time. So we're going to see how this goes. I also have laundry running in the background. So if you hear that noise, I apologize. I don't hear it, but I know what's happening. So sorry. Not sorry. I need to do laundry. And yeah, so this is the Manda Made It podcast. This is where I chat about my knitting, crochet, and spinning projects, completed, in the works, future stuff. And I just like to share what I do. So if you're new here, welcome. I swear, I'm not a perfectionist. Probably gonna irritate some perfectionist qualities in people if you're watching. So I apologize, I guess. If that's really something you don't enjoy, probably don't want to keep watching this. But anywho. So I am in Rhode Island, Westerly, Rhode Island, a couple miles from the shore. So we did just have our Thanksgiving a few days ago, American Thanksgiving a few days ago, and lots of visits. And then the week before, we had my daughter's 1-year birthday. So it's been busy. Also, gift knitting. So there's not necessarily a whole lot of stuff that's changing in terms of works in progress or even FOs, finished objects. But I'll still update you on what I'm doing. So first, because I don't have any finished objects right now. Nope. No, I do not. I wish I did. But I think that's like a terminal thing for makers and crocheters and knitters and spinners is like you start the thing and you want to do the thing and then you want to have the thing. And it seems like you get caught up in this idea of like you need to finish, you need to go, go, go. Because of course, yes, like a lot of us want to have the finished object, but a lot of us are also process makers, and I am a process maker. I enjoy the process of making. However, there is always some point in the project or the process of making it where I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta do it, I gotta get it done. And I don't know why. Most likely because I also have a pretty steadfast self-imposed rule that I don't have generally more than 4 projects going at once. Usually I will have a pair of socks going because it's very easy to pick up and put down with the kids. Vanilla socks, which means vanilla sock, by the way, isn't a actual pattern. It just means it's a plain sock. There's no texture. You're just knitting. You know, you do the heels, toes, cuffs, like you just knit. Maybe add some ribbing for the cuff. And then I will also have a larger, more complex pattern, such as right now I'm doing a cardigan. And then usually I will have one other smaller project that could be more complex or just something I want to make. And then I have spinning projects because, of course, I do. And the baby's starting to stir. I knew I waited too long. Oh, well. Let's see how much we can do this, how we can do this. So my first work in progress is my cardigan. This is being done with the, from the Ann Buds Ann Buds handy book of top-down sweaters. And I have finished one sleeve and gotten started on the second. I'm past the shoulder cap shaping and just now getting into the decreases of the sleeve. And this is the set-in sleeve sweater. You can see I have, well, maybe you can't see. Oh, there you go. I have all my markers for my increases, which I mark every time, so that when I'm doing this sleeve, I can pay attention to what to match it, to make it match, because I do not have different length arms, at least not noticeably so. This is knit out of Knit Picks Celestial, or no, well, it's Vitellana Celestial in the Callisto colorway, which I got from Knit Picks, or not Knit Picks, Knit Crate. Sorry. So yeah, it's I have to finish the sleeve and then do the collar and the button band. This is going to be a crew neck. I did purposely do this with a very little amount of ease around the bust. Hopefully not too little. But I just, my shape is annoying sometimes. Fairly curvy, which I know isn't annoying, but it's when you're trying to learn how to make clothes that fit your shape, it's just like if it was a little less different in certain areas, it might be easier. Anyway, that's one work in progress. I'm enjoying it. The yarn is nice. It's 90% alpaca, 10% tencel. It probably will grow a bit with blocking and wear, which is okay. Like, one thing I've learned from this is that what I actually really would like to make next would be a sweatshirty type of sweater that is slightly oversized, does have some positive ease, and is very comfy to just throw on and wear all day for multiple days in a row. Because, that's what I want. Now, my next whip, a few months ago, a friend of mine had asked if I could make him a hat, and I did. And then he reached out a few days ago or last week and asked if I could make him a matching scarf. So I said sure, because I just made his hat out of stash yarn, and I still had plenty of that stash yarn. So this is a very simple 3x3 rib over 36 stitches. With a garter stitch body. I mean, it's super simple. He's not looking for, like anything crazy. And I don't have the time for anything crazy. This is kind of like replacing my socks right now, because it is just so simple. I can pick it up, work on it, put it down, not a big deal. Like, I'm in the middle of a row here. I never do that. But I did, apparently. It's being held in this bag, but I don't know who made this bag. I got it from my local yarn shop. At Driftwood Yarns in Groton, Connecticut, and I don't see a label on this, so maybe one of them made it, Christine or Elizabeth. I'm not sure. Something I feel like I should probably know. I don't though. So anyway, he wants that scarf to be long enough to just wrap around his neck once. So I have enough yarn to do that, so I will do that. Yeah, that's it for my whips that I'm going to be talking about today, as far as knitted and crocheted items. I do have two spinning whips. One is the Shetland wool that I had gotten from the Fiber Festival of New England. And I'm sorry, this is not Shetland. This is Jacob. This is Black Jacob. And I got this from the same festival. And I decided I wanted to do it all on my supported spindles, because this is quite definitely a carded preparation. This is my first time working with a carded prep like this. It is like, I guess, a true roving, because I have gotten things that were called rovings and they were certainly not carded. They were certainly combed. So that is that. I am attempting to do a sort of long draw method of drafting with the Tibetan spindle. And I'm not necessarily doing that great at it. But this is my first time working with a truly carded prep like this, and so I'm just chalking it up to a learning curve. I mean, really, that's all that spinning is going to be for the next, forever, but for at least the next year, because I don't know what I don't know, And the more you know, the more you realize, the less you know. So, however, so this is, I mean, I love the color of this. It's so deep and rich, and it's reading slightly flat on here, again, because no real lighting. But I mean, you can see like it's hairy, and there's like these little Kemp, I think these are Kemp fibers, the little light colored ones. It's gonna be woolly, and I mean, because it's woolen spun or long draw, it's gonna hold a lot of air and be really warm. I have zero idea what I'm gonna make with this, but I am enjoying figuring out how to do this on this spindle. I have another spinning whip, which I just started plying last night. This is the Shetland that I got, that I was talking about before. This is also a carded prep, and this is like seriously carded. Like, this shit is messy. Like, I alternate between saying like, I hate this, I don't want to do this anymore, to saying, oh my god, I'm getting it and it looks great. You know, it's, I don't know if you can really see that well. Is it gonna focus? Cover my eyes. I don't know. Anyway, it's a 2-ply, which, Andy, if you're watching, a 2-ply just means that there's 2 single strands of yarn that I've made. Andy is my father-in-law, and he is so wonderful and sweetly interested in the things that I'm doing with spinning, and we chat about it almost every week. So I basically take one of these singles, and then you combine it with another single, and that will make a 2-ply. When you can make it with 3 or more or whatever. So in the Shetland, which I'm doing, which is also this beautiful dark brown, it's just, there are a couple of things I keep reminding myself from lessons on Sweet Georgia. I do the School of Sweet Georgia courses, and there's tons of them. If you have any interest in knitting, crocheting, dyeing, spinning, weaving, I think it's like $19 a month, and you get access to so many courses about all kinds of stuff: color theory, color blending, just wonderful, wonderful resource for people who want to learn how to do things. And there's also a community aspect, which is cool too. I'm not sponsored or affiliated. I'm just love it. But anyway, as I'm teaching myself how to do this long draw and working with carded prep like this, I do keep referring back to these courses that talk about these things. And, you know, 2 of the courses, one, I think it was taught by Kim McKenna. It might be the Level Up, Spinning Up a Level course, and she just talks about, like, if you are doing long draw, it's not going to be consistent, and you just have to let it go. Elsa, let it go. Sorry. Anyway, you have to let it go. You have, like, when you're going to enter into this learning about how to do this particular skill in this particular craft, it does seem like in the beginning you just have to learn how to accept that it is not perfect, and it won't be perfect. Like woolen spun yarns are by their very nature not perfect, because you do not have the level of control over them that you do with a worsted spun yarn. And that's hard. That's really hard to let go of control, especially even if you're not a perfectionist. Like, if you know how something works in one way and you can't get it to work the other way, it's frustrating, and you're doing things in a way that doesn't help you get what you want. So I just repeat in my head, like, just let it go, just let it go. And then Rachel Smith, who is another instructor on the School of Sweet Georgia, and she also has she has a Woolen Spinning is the name of her podcast. She also has like and a group and a Patreon and all kinds of stuff. She is a huge wealth of information in so many ways. And she, in one of her, I think it was actually on her Woolen Spinning podcast, she talks about spinning long draw, and she's like, your singles are going to look like the dog's breakfast. It's okay. I was like, okay. So I'm spinning my singles and I'm just like, this looks like shit. Which, I mean, maybe dogs don't eat shit for breakfast. However, this looks terrible. I can't stand the way this looks. It's okay. Rachel Smith says it's okay. Just accept it and move on. So there's a whole lot of me breathing through, accepting, and letting it go. And I am learning from this whole process, which is fun. I don't know what it is about spinning, but, and I had this conversation with my dad over the holiday weekend, that, you know, I never felt like I had a passion for anything. I was a drug addict and an alcoholic for a very long time, and that was my passion. I loved the shit out of drugs and being high and being drunk, and I loved it. It was great. For a long time in my life, I knew so much stupid information about stuff that was so unimportant. And, you know, anyway, that is what it is. I'll chat more about that later in a little bit of a life section of the video. But we were chatting and I said, you know, I finally feel like I have a passion, because something in spinning makes me have a feeling inside me where I feel connected to it. And I don't know why. It makes zero sense to me that I give any two shits about the history of spinning, where wool comes from, sheep breeds, how to do different things. Like, I just saw a tutorial about spindle spinning on a Scottish spindle. It was called something else, but I can't for the life of me remember how to pronounce it. DeGallon? I don't know. It's a Scottish spindle. It looks like a big old club that you would beat somebody with, but compared to like a Tibetan spindle. But I'm so intrigued by it. And I have Scottish ancestry, so I have a connection. I feel a connection with that. And I don't know why this feels so gratifying, satisfying, and important to me, but it does. And I think I finally understand what being passionate about something that isn't unhealthy and addictive is. You know, I used to love working out and being a power lifter. That was something I really, really enjoyed. But I had a lot of bullshit baggage that came along with that, you know, because like being a woman in America and growing up with the ideas of how I'm supposed to look, like I wouldn't at all consider that a passion. I liked it, but I don't have that driving sense of like, this evokes something in me, spinning and wool and all of that. And I don't know how to explain it. And that's the weirdest thing, is when I started getting into this, knitting, I've knit for years, and crochet, and I enjoy that. I like making with my hands. But man, when I started spinning, like, it just unlocked something, and it just fulfills me in a way that I don't understand, and I don't need to understand it, but I still sit back and laugh at myself sometimes that I give any random shits about any of it. If you feel the same, if you have a passion for something, I would love to know what it is. It might be something weird, like, and it might be obscure, and it may just be something that you're like, I don't know. But sure, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Because I find it so interesting. Now that I know what this feels like, it's like, oh, I understand now. I get it. It's just mine is about sheep hair. So anyway, that was a little tangent. I just really enjoy it, and it brings me a ton of joy. I have a book I'll share next time that my father-in-law gifted me. I have not started reading it yet, and I forgot it in the other room. So I will share that next time. But I could like deep dive into this all day long. I do deep dive into it when I don't have to pay attention to my kids. But okay, so that's that. I did want to just highlight a couple of podcasts that I've found interesting to watch. Because just the point of view and the way that people discuss things. I've already mentioned Rachel Smith and the Woolen Spinning podcast. There is also the Soulful Spinner, and she's on YouTube. She has a podcast. No, I haven't seen her post anything in about since September, so I'm not sure if she's still active, but she has got a ton of videos to watch, which are really, really, they're interesting, and they're soothing. So I highly recommend that, as well as the, I think it's called the Compassionate Compassionate Spinner. I'll have to double check. They're both, great resources, and interesting to watch. And I love the way that they explain things. And if anybody has any interest, you might want to check them out. Okay, so I'm gonna switch over to a couple of life things, because there were some, it was a holiday weekend, a couple of big things in my life that occurred, and so if you don't care, bye bye. I'll see you next time. If you're interested, stay tuned. So I had started talking earlier about being a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I did celebrate on this past Friday, November 26th. I did celebrate 3 years sober. I had quit any and all drugs prior to that, prior to having kids, but I was still drinking, and not like an alcoholic like you think in a movie, you know, or like, people who have shit hidden all over the place, who can't function, who hit like rock bottom or whatever. I've hit rock bottom so many times. Like the only true rock bottom is when you die, just so you know. Like when you're addicted to things, for me, there was no rock bottom. It could keep going and going because you can always get back up and find something outside of yourself that's going to make you forget things and temporarily give you a sense of feeling better. And 3 years ago, we celebrated Thanksgiving. I hosted it as usual. I drank my usual mag of wine every day, plus 3 to 4 nips of Jameson's whiskey. And that Monday I woke up, I'm just like, gosh, I feel like shit. I'm so tired of feeling this way. And I mean, this has been happening for years where I knew I needed to quit and knew I wanted to quit drinking. It didn't do anything for me. It made everything worse. My health, my relationships, everything worse. And something happened that Monday where I was like, I'm not drinking anymore. And I didn't say anything to anybody. I made no grand announcements because I've done that before too. And that always failed. I made no grand announcements. I just quietly stopped drinking. My husband at the time was still drinking, and not my husband, he's still my husband, but at that time he was not, he was still drinking. After a few days, what's going on? Because we would have a routine where every time when he was on his way home from work, he would call me and I would tell him what I needed from the package store. And for those who don't live in the area, a package store is a liquor store. I don't know why we call them that here in New England, but we do. It's called a package store or a packy. It's just where you buy booze. And I said, I think I'm going to not drink for a while. I didn't give myself a date or a time frame, because I've done that before too. I have done all of the things, made all of the bargains and the deals and rules, and it never worked for me. And then 3 weeks later, you know, we had a babysitter and we were going to go out and go Christmas shopping and grab something to eat. And he's like, so are you done forever with drinking? And I said, I don't know. Let me have a couple drinks tonight and see. And I did. I had 3 drinks. And it felt god-awful. It felt terrible. I hated the way I felt. I hated the way I knew I was going to feel in the morning. And I mean, like, hate is a strong word. I hated it. I hated the guilt that I was putting myself through. I hated knowing that I was going to wake up in the morning feeling the way I had been feeling before. Because for 3 weeks, I didn't have that. I woke up sober, not hungover, not sucking down water and trying to eat every greasy thing to counteract whatever was in my belly. And I hated it. And I just decided from that moment forward I was done. And I have not had a drink since. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I encourage you. I had a lot of different tools at my disposal that I utilized. The most important for me was a book called The Alcohol Experiment, The Naked Mind, I think. I'll show that next time too. That was, just reading all of, it's called Quit Lit, like quitting, Quit Lit. And there's tons of social media accounts and things and groups out there. I did not go the AA route. I am an atheist. I don't believe in God or any other word that people use to mean that, universe, whatever. It's just not my thing. And I don't mind if other people do. My husband's a Catholic, so like it's okay. But if there is going into a situation to try and help heal myself, if there's going to be some sort of religious aspect to it, it just is not for me. It's not going to work. So I did not go the AA route. There are several people within my family who have gone that route, and it is very helpful for them. So, for anybody that has any inkling that they may want to get into that, give it a shot, really. So anyway, the markers I have on the 26th is my soberversary, and I get a tattoo every year of a flower on my back it's a bouquet. It adds to a bouquet of flowers to commemorate that. So I got that done. I'm not going to share that because I don't have to. I may at another point decide to show that, but it would require me standing up and lifting up my shirt, and I'm just not prepared for that right now. So not going to happen. I did get another tattoo, my yarn ball, which I am very pleased with. I like it quite a bit. No, I do not knit with straight needles like ever. I tried to after I got this actually, and it sucked. So I started that scarf on straight needles and I hated it. So I just went back to my circulars. Or I didn't hate it. I just liked it. It wasn't comfortable. I'm much more used to circulars. So but aesthetically, these are much nicer to look at in a tattoo and in a drawing than circulars. But so that is that. We had Thanksgiving. I did a turkey, brown butter, sweet potatoes, homemade cranberry sauce, green bean casserole, stuffing, and a apple cranberry wild rice pilaf. I also attempted to make creamed onions, which is a very traditional dish in my family, and I completely screwed that up, burnt the crap out of it, so we didn't have that. My mother-in-law made a fantastic, so good, pumpkin cheesecake dish. It was beautiful. Like, it looked like the cover of a magazine. It was so good. you know, my mom made a pumpkin pie. My other mother-in-law brought some cookies. We had pecan pie and little mincemeat tarts, because in my family we love mincemeat. It was a great day, lots of fun. My daughters both enjoyed themselves. It was a really, really lovely time. And yeah, so that is what has been happening. Hopefully next week I will have so much more progress done on my cardigan, and I'll have completed one of these spins. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and listening to what I have to say. If you think anybody would enjoy it, share it. You can like, you can subscribe, you can comment, you know, let me know what you think. Let me know what kind of projects you're working on. Are you a spinner? Are you a knitter? Are you a crocheter? Do you weave? I don't weave. I don't know about that. It seems like a lot of work. But if you weave, talk to me about it. Anyway, yeah, I will talk to you guys in about a week. See you then. Bye.